Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, excuse me, and all the NFL fans around the world. It is time for the wild card game. But before we get to that, I gotta go over week 17. And of course, the firings from Monday. And of course, my best and worst of the NFL season. So here we go. Let's start off with week 17. And all the games were played on Sunday. The Dallas Cowboys would easily destroy the Redskins 44-17. Dallas lit it up. I was somewhat okay with this. I know we wanted to show how dominant we were. At the same time, we took a big risk on our starters not getting injured. We didn't get no one injured. We got lucky. But we did end the season 12-4. Moving to Baltimore, the Ravens, after looking at one point they were going to be eliminated, they win over the Browns 20-10 and would get into the playoffs, which we will explain that in a little bit. The Colts dominated the Tennessee Titans 27-10, automatically giving the Tennessee Titans the second pick in the NFL draft. The Jaguars 23-17, but unfortunately didn't mean anything because Ravens were able to win. And the game that pretty much gave the Ravens a player spun and what's going to give the Chiefs a good meal. Kansas City defeated the San Diego Chargers 19-7, eliminating San Diego and giving the Ravens the 6th seed in the AFC. The Jets would let their coach go down, as you know. Yes, the Jets did beat Miami. Unfortunately, it was not enough to save their coach's job as he was fired on Monday. We will get back to that in a little bit. So, yeah. We'll be back to that later. Also, the Vikings would defeat the Bears 13-9 and ending the Chicago Bears head coach run as he was terminated as well. So yeah, two people have already been fired. Technically 5 teams don't have a head coach, and we'll get to that later. The Bills get their first winning season in about a decade as they defeated the Patriots 17-9. The Eagles would end somewhat of the season on a high note, going 10-6, but missing the playoffs as they defeated the Giants 34-26. The New Orleans Saints, 15th loss of the year, but also giving Tampa Bay the first pick of the NFL draft. The Panthers were able to destroy the Falcons 34-3 and clinch a home playoff game for the NFC South. The Packers would beat the Lions by 10 points, clinching not only their division, but also clinching a first-round bye in the 2nd seed in the NFC. Denver would easily destroy the Oakland Raiders 47-14. San Francisco would end Coach Harbaugh, would win for Jim Harbaugh 20-17, ending the Jim Harbaugh reign on somewhat of a high note. Seahawks would destroy the Rams 20-6, giving them home field advantage throughout the NFC. And the Steelers would clinch a home game for the playoffs as they defeated the Bengals 27-17 on Sunday night. Now, of course, week 17, I did pretty damn well. I went 11-5. That's a great way to end the year. And for the season, I went 166, I believe it. Pretty much with over 166 wins. I'm excited. About 88 about close to 90 losses, give or take, and 1 tie. So I did pretty damn well, if I do say so myself. Now, of course, we have the playoffs to talk about, but before we get that, let's talk about the coaches who were fired. Of course, we know the 49ers let go of their head coach. I do feel sorry for San Francisco, so sorry, Mr. Goodrich. I feel sorry for you guys because it's going to be a long time before, because it's going to be hard to replace a coach of that caliber. Jets, Falcons, Bears also let go of their head coaches. In Oakland right now does not have a head coach technically because they had an interim head coach. I would say this, out of the 5 teams, I think the best one you'd want to be a coach right now in is the Falcons. The owner there seems like he would give you time to get the team good. And you actually, of the 5 teams, have a quarterback. Yes, San Francisco does as well. But like I said, San Francisco, I think, is going to be one of the hard ones because you're on a tough division. Seahawks are a good team. Cardinals are a good team. The Rams, they're starting to turn it around. So that division would be the worst one, I think. Oakland would be another bad job to get as well, in my opinion. Jets and Bears. Bears would be 50-50 on Jets. I don't think that's going to be a great position, at least unless you're a rookie head coach trying to get your foot in the door. But if I'm a guy who's looking for a head coach job, I would be hoping and praying to God I get to go to Atlanta. Maybe San Francisco, but Atlanta would be my first pick. Now, let's get to the good old-fashioned awards. Worst team of the NFL season. Well, normally I would give this to one team, but in this case I had to give it to 3 teams. And particularly, and it's obvious, the 3 worst teams this year all belong in the NFC South: New Orleans, Atlanta, and Tampa. I would add North Carolina there, but hey, Panthers made the fucking playoffs, so I can't hate that. But yeah, the NFC South, all 3 teams who didn't make the playoffs were terrible. That whole division was just terrible. Terrible division. As far as for best teams, looking at it, Seattle, New England, Dallas, wow, and Green Bay. Why am I saying all of them? They all have the best record, 12-4. So I'm sure they're the favorites right now as well. My MVP. Now the homer in me would say Tony Romo or DeMarco Murray, and I'm sure that's what one of my buddies is thinking. He's going to pick Dallas for that. No, my MVP is Aaron Rodgers. What he's been able to do with Green Bay this year, he's pretty much led them to the 2nd seed. You can make a case that if they do make it to the NFC title game, they could actually beat Seattle. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But Aaron Rodgers is my MVP. My defensive player of the year is J.J. Watt. I mean, come on, it's obvious. My coach of the year, I'm going with Arizona. Simply because of this. How many quarterbacks has he had to go through? Seriously, he's went through more quarterbacks than Carter's got liver pills. Granted, we'll see if having to use what? I think they're on the 4th quarterback right now. We'll see if that pays off or not. We shall see. We shall. Team with the brightest future going into next season. Now, this award is pretty much a team who didn't make the playoffs or were close to making it, but missed it either losing one game they should have won or something. And I'm actually going to go with Buffalo here. Buffalo, to me, is a team I think you're going to have to deal with next season. I think they're going to be a good team. Granted, I don't know what they're going to do with quarterback. As you guys know, the starting quarterback they had has retired. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But that is what it is. Now with that out of the way, let's get to these wild card games. Of course, just as a reminder, the Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Green Bay Packers all have a all have a bye this week. So if you're a fan of those teams, you may want to watch just to see who you're going up against, but I don't think too many people will. You know. So let's start with the Saturday games. Of course, the first one is on ESPN at 4:20. It is the Arizona Cardinals, 11-5 and 4-4 on the road, take on the North Carolina Panthers, who are 7-8-1 this season and 4-4 at home. Now, this to me was the hardest pick of all the playoff games in the wild card, because while Arizona's got a great defense, and it has a great defense, there's no lie on that. It's the offense that worries me because of the fact of this. They've had to go through so many quarterbacks. It's just sad. You know, and let's remember, at one point, they were about, I think, only lost one game, and everyone's like, oh, they're going to be the team that gets home field advantage and does all this. And then Carson Palmer got hurt. And things started to go down. And while Arizona's got a great defense, that quarterback in question is going to be what it could decide the game. And while I do love the head coach for Arizona, I enjoy him a lot. I just firmly believe in my heart, and I can't believe I'm saying this, because a few weeks ago, I would have said there's no way an NFC South team can win in the playoff game. But Panthers luck out. Cam Newton's actually been playing good since the car wreck. Their defense has been stellar. The big question is going to be, can the Cardinals quarterback show up when it counts the most? And with that being said, my first pick of the wild card, the first game of wild card weekend, Cardinals at Panthers. I'm taking the home team in North Carolina. I just trust them more at this point. If Arizona had a quarterback, if the original quarterback Carson Palmer never got hurt, this would be a totally different pick. But because of that, I have to go with the team that's got a quarterback right now, and that is Cam Newton. So I'm taking the Panthers to move on. Next, we head to Pittsburgh. By the way, like I said, Arizona at North Carolina. You can watch that on ESPN at 4:20 this Saturday afternoon. The next one, it's a division rivalry game in the playoffs, folks, as we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at home versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, of course, these two teams are a rivalry. They're, as a matter of fact, right now, the only rivalry match in the playoffs. Now, of course, I know my mom, my Aunt Amy, and my buddy the Ghost of Test, they are all watching this one in particular. Because, as we know, when I've picked the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, they have not done well. Because of the 5 losses, of the 7 times I picked them, well, no, actually, no, 8 now, counting Sunday, I am 3-5 with them. Of course, they are at home, and they're 6-2 at home. The Ravens, who are 10-6, they're 4-4 on the road. Now, of course, right now, we don't know if Bell is playing right now. Right now, it looks like they may not play him, depending what happens. It is up to them. I understand why they may not. You don't want to risk your star running back. Last thing you want to do is not have a run game going up against the Ravens defense. You're going to want to run the ball. You're going to have to. Now, Pittsburgh's at home, and they've been good at home, 6-2. This, to me, is going to probably be, of the 4 wildcard games, the best wildcard game we get. And remember, both teams know how to win in the situations in the playoffs. Ravens have won from the 6th seed. Let's remember, not too long ago, they had to play all the games on the road, and they won the Super Bowl that year. Pittsburgh knows what to do as well. Both defenses have been up and down as well. Both offensive have been up and down. So this is also the most even because you don't know what you're going to get. And with that being said, I looked at this game very closely, and to me, it came down to one thing: kicking. I am taking the Baltimore Ravens and the field goal kicker to win the game. I think it's going to be a close game. I do agree with the odds that right now it's going to be the line pretty much is right now a 3.5, a 3-point victory for Pittsburgh. I think that is right. I'm taking the Ravens. I think Ravens will win this game thanks to a field goal. Should be a great matchup. And remember, you can watch the Ravens at Steelers this Saturday night at 8:15 on NBC. Next, the Sunday games. It would be the Detroit Lions taking on my Dallas Cowboys. And of course, you know who I'm picking. I'm not even going to even bother moving it to the way, because we know better. I'm taking the Cowboys. I've done it all year. Now, while Dallas has been playing well, good offensive line, they've played well this year, Detroit is no slouch, and both of them had the same record, 4-4. Lions all 11-5, but they're 4-4 on the road. Dallas is also 4-4 at home, so they're not good at home. They've been a great road team this year, but not a great home team. So keep that in mind when you're making your pick as well. Now, of course, right now, a lot of people are speculating, will the one defensive lines player, will he remain suspended? Because right now there was talks he may get off that suspension. I don't think he will. If he does, that would be kind of shocking to me, but we shall see. I am taking Dallas because, let's be honest, when they don't have him on the field for the Lions, he does not play as well. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It pretty much comes down to the Lions defense here. If they are able to get him back, because they actually play better with him, the dirtiest player in the game, as I like to call him. We know who I'm talking about here. If he does it, the Lions defense actually plays worse. statistically. Now Dallas is favored by 7 points. I don't like that. I think it's gonna be a close game. Probably the best Sunday game we get. I am a little worried though, because Dallas has not been a good playoff team in the last decade. Last time we won the playoffs, wildcard game, we fumbled the ball and lost the game. Before that, when we had home field advantage against the Giants, we got killed. So we don't have a good track record in the playoffs. This would be a first step to doing that. If DeMarco Murray can do what he's been doing all year long, and the offensive line can do what they've been doing all year long, we'll be able to compete. The question's going to be, and like I said, the defense is going to decide this game. And maybe even field goal kicking as well, because while Dallas has a proven field goal kicker, the Lions, on the other hand, yeah, there's reason why they're not known for field goal kicking this year. They have had bad luck. We shall see if that continues. But I'm taking Dallas. By the way, that game is at 4:40 on Fox. Now, of course, the other game is the early game on Sunday at 1:05 on CBS. It is the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Indianapolis. Now, what's interesting for me about this is this. The Bengals have been good on the road, 5-3, but Colts have been good at home, 6-2. And defensively, they're about the same. So then it comes down to quarterbacks. Andrew Luck's been a beast since he's entered the league. Andy Dalton, while he's had good seasons, he's not been known as a playoff quarterback. He's not had a good playoff game. He hasn't had a good track record in the playoffs, folks. So this one was tough. And I think the Bengals have the running advantage. I'm taking Andrew Luck and the Colts. They have actually, I believe, won a playoff game with Luck. They made a big comeback. I think last year was the one I'm talking about. I trust Andrew Luck more than Andy Dalton in a playoff situation right now. And don't get me wrong, I love Andy Dalton. I think he's a good quarterback during the season. But playoffs, he's not that good. You can have the greatest season imaginable, great season stats and all that. But in the playoffs, that's when it counts. Andy Dalton doesn't have that track record. Nor does he have the track record on winning on primetime games either. And I'm sorry, the playoffs, that's bigger than primetime games. If I'm the Bengals, that is what I'm worried about. And oh, by the way, you're pretty much, unless it ends up being Ravens and Bengals in the NFC title game, AFC title game, you're going to have to be on the road for all 3 games, most likely. Now, it's been done, but I don't think they can do it just because I don't trust Andy Dalton, and I love Andy Dalton. I got him on my fantasy team. But I don't trust him in this situation. So I'm taking Indianapolis. I think it will be close, but I think Colts will edge out a little more. So yeah, that is my pick. I'm taking Indianapolis at home. So my picks are Panthers, Ravens, Cowboys, and the Colts, all moving on to the next round. Now, let me know what you think of my picks. Do you agree or disagree? And until next time, this is the DOUG signing off saying, have a good day. If your team made it into the playoffs, congratulations. If they didn't, good luck next season and good luck in the draft. Until then, this is the DOUG sign off saying, enjoy the playoffs, Happy New Year, and good luck to everybody. And Ghost to Test, yeah, you're probably thankful right now I didn't pick the Steelers. Bye, everybody.